The girl thinks in her mind that now I know his secrets, so now he will kill me. Our hero looks at that girl, and then he says, "What should I do with you?" and says, "Tell me one reason not to kill you." The girl is sitting down on the ground, and then she takes out some treasure and puts it in her palm and says, "This is all the treasure that I have." And she tells that its value is more than 10 million. It is basically my lifeline. I will give it to you if you can leave me alive. Our hero takes that piece of treasure in his hand. That piece of treasure was shining. And then he says that you are quite honest, but the sad thing is that you have already known a lot about me, and you also know how to lie. The girl raises her hand and says, "I swear by Lower Sandow Heaven that if I lie to my benefactor, then lightning will strike me 5 times. Did a girl named Lou Sandow really think like this or no? I'm serious, benefactor, I don't know what my parents are thinking. But I'm really telling you the truth. Look, this is my ID." Then our protagonist takes her ID in his hand and looks at it. He still felt something weird. And he says, "This ID is really yours, right, because your figure is matching less with it." The girl grabs her hair and pulls her lips in and says, "Look. This picture was taken 2 years ago. Even then I had a growth spurt, and wait, this is because I haven't lost weight." Then suddenly he looks back and feels something strange happening. And then he says, "But this is still not a guarantee that you will keep my secret. It will be better to kill you, because a dead person never listens to stories." The girl opens a portal at the same time, and something comes out by putting her hand inside it and says, "Don't worry, my well-wisher." The protagonist is very surprised to see that object and asks, "What is it?" The girl looks at him very innocently and says that this is a seal scroll. If the defaulter reveals the secret, then they will be hanged or killed. And she tells that Lou Sandow has sworn to protect Zhang Change's war secrets till death. If I do this, then I will be hanged, and I am very afraid of death, so. Our hero looks at her with a side glance and says, "I did not think something like this would happen. But okay, I will not kill you because you signed this seal scroll." After listening to his words, the girl thanks our hero, and then our hero asks the girl, "Wait for a minute, and tell me how much is the price of this scroll." The girl puts her hand on her mouth and replies that its price is around 10 lakh rupees. And then he looks at her in surprise and asks that this means that the only valuable thing in the storage ring was used by you only. The girl gets scared hearing this and stops our hero with both her hands and says, "Please don't get angry. Unless you can take me home, my parents will definitely not misbehave with you." After this, our hero starts moving forward and says, "I am going to report to the night watch tomorrow morning. Anyway, I am very late and I wish you the best." The girl is still following him and says, "Benefactor sending me home is very close to going to the night watch. And there is a teleportation station at my house. I guarantee you will not be late." And then she looks at him and says, "Benefactor, please wait for me." After some time, our hero reaches in front of Liu family mansion, and he looks at him very carefully. After some time, our hero and that girl both reach near the mansion of Liu family. And as soon as they go inside, there is a voice that how did they get so much courage? They loot money and kill. This has been the main work of the Zhao family. All the people of the Zhao family were standing there with their heads bowed down. And then he says that, "Madam, please calm down. We all deserve death. Please have mercy on us." And he says that the young lady has suffered a lot. The lady looks at him and says in a very angry tone that, "I have suffered a lot." Then suddenly a person comes from the front, and he is actually her husband, and he says that, "My wife, please calm down your anger. The most important thing is that our Lou Sandow has returned home safely, and the Zhao family is one of the great families of the Jain Empire. There is no one here against whom we can go." Our hero looks at them and thinks in his mind that so he is really called Lou Sandow. Liu Dando's father smiling look at him and give him the black card and say, "Giant change is okay. Thank you so much for saving our Liu Sandow. Please accept this black card." Liu's mother was sitting on a chair, and she looks at them and says, "I have arranged for breakfast. Please have breakfast before leaving. We will be very happy, and the telephotography will take only a few moments." The protagonist takes the card in his hand and says thank you for the black card and thank you very much for the breakfast too. And laughingly puts his hand on his head and says, I will eat just a little. Lusando was blushing seeing him, and his father says, we will take you there right now. After this, our hero starts eating breakfast, and he takes a big piece of meat and starts eating. The waiters standing behind are surprised to see that he is eating such a big piece. Our hero thinks in his mind that the more I will have to control the insects, the more food I will have to eat while eating. And then Lusando says, this is a little food, and there is no need to hurry. You can eat more if you want. Her mother says that our daughter has eaten a lot. It is said that he is a creation type and is also at the divine level. As a newly awakened person, he can already save Lusando from the hands of the Zio family. Hearing this, his father puts his hand on his mouth and says yes, although she won't say it. But he is definitely not as useless as he looks. He is also quite handsome. And then he thinks to himself that it will be great if he can help us fight against the Zio family. If he can protect our daughter, then we don't have to worry. And then the two men stand behind our hero smiling and say to him, Zhang Chen, you don't have a girlfriend yet. Zio Zhang, you don't have a girlfriend yet, do you? Our Sandow doesn't have a boyfriend either. Don't you think that the only hidden profession in our family is pretty cool? And then his mother also says, you are also skilled in doing business and being a financial manager. And then her father shows both his thumbs and says the most important thing is that our Sandow has a golden figure. 36, 24, 36. She has both beauty and brains. I am already thinking of names for my grandson. Hearing this, Lusando gets upset and says, Mom and Dad, you guys are being too rude. How did you guys think of all this so quickly? Our hero had finished eating, and after hearing all this, he was about to run away from there quickly. And he says, thank you very much for the hospitality, and now I am full and I have remembered some important work, so I should leave. And then he immediately runs away from there. Here, Lusando's father tells her that my son-in-law has gone. Why don't you, being his wife, send him off? And then she starts crying, and her mother says, don't worry, Sando. The black card your father gave her has a location tracking function. With this, we can find out where he is going. So you can follow him wherever he goes. And then Sansando looks at them and says you all should keep quiet. And thinks in her mind that even though he is very strong and handsome, but he is also scary. But even though she's scary, but she's also really pretty and strong. And then the Zio family mansion is shown, and this person says that Hami Yanu's life has been taken away and he has been killed. Do a thorough investigation and tell me who did this, and I will send someone to investigate. The younger master shows his hand and says, Grandpa, my cousin is already 20 years old and just reached level 32nd transfer. This is undoubtedly a waste. And what is so much farm money over the death of a useless person? It is not worth your anger. The master looks at him and says that Yuanju's abilities were really mediocre and much lower than yours. It is not a pity that he died. But in the end, he is still my grandson, and the culprit must be found out who he messed with. And I want to know who dared to go against me in the Dixier region. The younger master looks at him and replies that, okay, Grandpa, why are you worrying about such a small thing? There is no need to. Friends, this chapter ends here. Don't forget to press the like button to see the next chapter. If you are not on the channel, then subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you can be the first to see our video. See you in the next chapter. Until then, take care of yourself and your family.